8 of hearts. 2 of clubs. 5 of clubs. 5 of diamonds. Now, look at that. Actually got one right. Six of spades, jack of clubs, 9 of diamonds, 3 of hearts. Get decent, dear. We have company. It's open.
Hello?
There he is.
Raul.
Has it been a month already?
No, still 2 weeks.
Well, you old son of a bitch, how are we doing today?
Are you working on a project of some sort?
Not mine. Sit down, stay a spell. Come on in, don't leave me hanging.
Sorry. Just making observations.
We'll make them internally. Take your coat off and make notes when you get back to your car. And talk about upping my dose or whatever it is you want to talk about.
Understood.
So, what do you want to talk about today?
What would you like to talk about today?
I don't rightly know. I wasn't expecting company, so I'm not at my sharpest.
Well, what's going on in your life these days? What were you thinking about when I arrived?
Very second, I don't know. Probably something to do with the hypocrisy of Western culture and how it structures families. Half measures, rites of breeding, fascism, things like that.
Rites of breeding?
Well, you asked.
I'd like you to talk about that a little bit more, if you don't mind.
What's to elaborate on? It's fascist, structured in any way unnaturally. It's a big fuck you to people who are different, and a half measure on its best day to the rest of us.
You're being esoteric. Can you give me a concrete example?
Sure. Why not? I got nowhere to be right now.
Right.
Should people be allowed to breed?
You want this to be a dialogue?
Always. Isn't that all of life?
All right. I'd say I prefer some the opportunity rather than others, but okay. Should people be allowed to breed?
Yeah. You take 2 healthy young people of age who fancy one another and have the privacy. Should they be allowed if they want to?
Why not?
Sick bastard. They're brother and sister.
Well, then no.
Well, why not?
It's illegal. It's immoral. There really have been countless studies on this.
Specifically, why not? Like you said earlier, just give me a concrete example.
Because it produces children with elevated levels of illness, depleted mental activity, sets them up for a lifetime of hardship and difficulty and failure, and statistically speaking, are more likely to commit crimes and lower the standard of living for all those around them.
It's not because God said no.
No, and the reason it was written into the Bible was the same pragmatic reason, because it produces an inferior future generation of people.
So, it's all about producing the most viable offspring, yes?
I would say so.
You would say so, or yes?
Yes, that is the reason.
And you agree with it?
Yes, I think the law is appropriate, as it is not fair to the child or to the taxpayer paying for the child's lifetime of medical and quality of life issues.
Good. Now let's take another couple. One is legally blind, one is legally deaf. They both have nervous system issues. They're in their late 40s and they're sporting a heroin addiction, but they're not related. Should they be allowed to breed?
I see.
Answer the question, please. They're not related, so there should be no issues here, right? I mean, statistically speaking, there's a 75% chance that the child will be born with some disorder that will cripple it for life. The parents are in their 40s, so the chance of birth defects will be acutely amplified. And let's not forget, the child will be born with at least one addiction.
People making those kinds of life choices shouldn't have children.
We're not talking morality here, Doc, and that's not a call for you to make. It is their legal right. But do they deserve the right? The brother and sister that wanted to pop out a baby are perfectly healthy, but the law says it's inhumane. But the drug addicts that will give birth to a vegetable and leave it in a dumpster somewhere, perfectly fine.
Abandoning your child is not legal or fine in any way.
You said earlier that it wasn't fair to a child when relatives hook up. So is it fair for troglodytes to mate? And let's say the government did start making restrictions on the breeding habits of strangers specific to genetic imperfections. Where do they draw the line at what specific defect they're going to restrict? Brother and sister are smart, young, and without genetic issue. No dice, no siree. Where is the quality of life for the child that's born deaf, blind, heart issues, and blood disorder that they knew they were going to pass on? It's a half measure at its best. If the point of the law is to elevate the resident gene pool and lower medical costs, why aren't they addressing the real issue here, the genetically defective?
I think you're switching into fascism now.
So is the government when it decides who can and cannot breed.
And that's what's bothering you today? Society's intention versus execution?
I didn't say it was bothering me, Doc. It's just what I was thinking about when you asked the question.
Not that you noticed, but this is not our usual meeting.
It ain't?
No, I'm a week early.
Did you write this stuff down anyway? I mean, it's pretty good banner for off the top of my head.
I have a client who's extremely religious, and I'm having difficulty reaching him in any meaningful way.
I ain't the doc.
Psychosomaticism is a thing, Raul. If the mind has the power to make one ill, it has the power to make one well. I was wondering if you would do me the profound favor of meeting with them to see if you could do something. Off the record, of course.
Well, I'll see what can be seen.
Thanks.
Terrence Meridian, attorney at law.